Hello, hello, hello. I am Hee, the founder of Tranquility by Hee Maternity Concierge, and we help you birth like a queen. We help you have your baby without the fear and anxiety by channeling and harnessing the control that you already have inside of you. Part of that is making sure that your village around you is made up of strong professionals that support you and are in alignment with the same goals that you have for your journey as a parent and your child. Today, we are going to be talking about how to pick the perfect pediatrician, because once your baby is here, you are going to want someone to help you raise that baby, and that's going to be your pediatrician. Okay, so the first thing is, I call this data doc. You're going to want to interview a couple of different pediatricians. You want your pediatrician to be someone that you jive with. You're going to want to ask questions about their outlook on things. You're going to want to ask about their philosophies and what they might do in certain situations, and are they more medically inclined, or do they begin with natural remedies? What are their outlooks and philosophies of vaccinations? What are their outlooks and philosophies about development? You are going to want to make sure that all of that is kind of in alignment with what you need. Number two is a little trick that I learned from a nurse long ago, but it is two things in two pairs. So you're going to call your local hospitals, and you're going to want to make sure that these hospitals serve the kind of the same area that you live in. And so I usually say within driving distance of your home. If you wouldn't travel that far to a pediatrician, I wouldn't call that hospital, but call your local hospitals, and you want to call two units. You want to call the labor and delivery unit, and you want to call the postpartum unit. You also want to call it 2 times. You want to call during the day shift, and you want to call during the night shift. All right, these nurses, they know these pediatricians. You can ask for the head nurse or the charge nurse. These nurses, they make constant referrals to these pediatricians. They get constant referrals from these pediatricians. They know these pediatricians' communication styles. They know if they're warm. They know if they are compassionate, if they're going to go above and beyond, if they're available for their patients. You want to know this. Get in with a pediatrician that the nurses like. That says a lot about that doctor. All right, number 3, ask local moms. So this can be your neighbor. This can be in the local moms group. If you take a breastfeeding class, a CPR class, a childbirth education class, an online group, ask local moms, because the best way to get honest feedback is to ask moms who have had experiences with that doctor. If they love their pediatrician, I promise you they will want to share that with you. And if they've had a bad experience, they will also want to warn you about that, because it was probably a very scary experience, or something super unpleasant when you're already in a vulnerable state. You know, when you go to the pediatrician, it's not like you're taking, other than your well checkups, generally if you're calling the pediatrician, something is probably wrong and you're feeling a little sensitive or tender or vulnerable already. And you're going to want someone who can react like that. All right, number 4, you want to make sure that your pediatrician is available. And I mean a little bit more than, is the office open 8 to 5 plus a little afternoon hours, evening hours, and are they open on the weekends? You're going to want to know how many doctors are in that practice, and what's the likelihood that you get to see your child's pediatrician. So different practices operate in different ways. They will run their practice differently. So let's say that you have a practice that has 8 doctors, 10 doctors, and every week 2 doctors are on call. And so all throughout the month, you have 8 doctors, and then that 10th pair is off. Well, what if your doctor is number 9 or 10? You don't see them that whole entire month. There's no way that you can see them because they're off. That doesn't sit well with some people. Some people are totally fine. But if you feel strongly, like I grew up seeing every single time I saw the same pediatrician, unless he was sick or unless he was on vacation for the 1 or 2 weeks that he went away, we saw the same pediatrician. Now, I don't know if my mom had, strong feelings about that, or if it's just the pediatrician clinic that we ended up at, but you're going to want to know specifics about the clinic that you are considering going to, because if you have strong feelings in one way or the other, that's something you definitely want to work out before, again, you show up in a vulnerable state, feeling sensitive, and you're expecting the same person. And, you look back and you're like, the last 4 times I've been to the pediatrician, it's been a different doctor. Who is my child's doctor? Just make sure you know those things. So those are the top things. And then, of course, making sure that pediatrician is aligned. I think if you follow those 5 things, dating a doc, make sure you're interviewing multiple ones, asking the local hospital nurses because they will know. Ask local moms because they give you honest feedback. Consider the availability of your pediatrician. And then finally, are they aligned with you? Do they make you feel warm and fuzzy? Do they make you feel supported? Do they, make you feel like your concerns and your worries and your questions are valid? And are they happy to give you resources when you ask for them? That is a good pediatrician. If you are interested in more support like this is exactly what we do in the Birth Lounge. You can visit thebirthlounge.com to find more information. For $1 a day, basically, you can get constant support from other parents just like you, from me, and from the professionals in our community. Visit thebirthlounge.com to join our community. I cannot wait to help you birth like a queen.